Hi everyone, this is your lecture for 6.6, and in this section we're going to solve quadratic equations, not just factor them but solve them. When you're solving an equation like this, first get my pen going here. You're going to set it equal to 0, which in this case is already done for you. Then you're going to factor. In third, you're going to set each factor equal to 0. So the first two steps are already done for us. So I said each factor equal to 0. And you solve for x. Subtract 4 from both sides, and I get x equals -4. Add 5 to both sides because I'm solving for x. And then divide by 2. Okay? On this one, we can see step 1 isn't done, so we have to set it equal to 0 ourselves. So let's subtract. $21 from both sides. Sorry, my pen wasn't working there for a minute. I don't know what its issue was. And then we factor, so we want the factors of 21, whose difference is 4. 1 times 21, 3 times 7 will give us 4. And since I want a -4, the 7 has to be negative. Since it's a 1 here in front of your squared term, I can go straight to my parentheses. Set each factor equal to 0 and solve for x. So subtracting 3 there and adding 7 to this one, I get 7 and -3. Okay, again, this one is not set equal to 0 for us, so our first step will be to set it equal to 0. So I have 3x squared minus 9x equals 0. And this one doesn't have 3 terms like the others did. It only has 2. So I want to look for a common factor. 3 and 9 have a 3 in common, and then I have an x in both of them. So if I divide by 3 and take out an x, I'm left with x minus 3. Set each factor equal to 0, just like before. Just because it's not a binomial factor does not mean. So divide by 3, x equals 0, add 3 to both sides, and your other answer is x equals 3. Okay, one more. Okay, so on this one, again, it's not set equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract my 18x and subtract my 27 so that I can set it equal to 0. So I have 2x cubed plus 3x squared minus 18x minus 27 equals 0. Since I have 4 terms with nothing in common, I group. The first two have an x squared in common, and I'm left with 2x plus 3. The second two have a 9 in common, and since my first term is negative, I want a negative 9. Divide by negative 9, divide by negative 9. Now you can see I have a common binomial factor, so 2x plus 3, and I'm left with x squared minus 9. However, x squared minus 9 will factor down more because this is the difference of squares. So what do you square to get x squared? X and x. What do you square to get 9? 3 and 3, 1 plus, 1 minus. So each one equal to 0. So subtract 3 here, because I'm solving for x, and then divide by 2. Add 3 to both sides over here. X equals 3. And then subtract 3 here. So this one wasn't technically a quadratic formula because it wasn't just squared, but you can see we can still solve those. And that is your lecture for 6.6.